Hi there guys, this is Kirito Bro with Get Good Gaming, and I'm here to bring you a guide on the new pre-patch. This is going to be 7.0.3, and this is going to be going over the Fury talents, also as well a decent DPS rotation. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So first here, you're looking at War Machine, Endless Rage, and Fresh Meat. War Machine's nice to have whenever you're leveling. The 30% additional haste and movement speed is pretty nice to have, but leveling, that's the only time I'd ever use it. Endless Rage is what I use. The 30% additional rage is going to be the best thing to have as far as getting off the rampage. Dumping rampage as fast as possible is basically what a Fury Warrior is. So it's going to allow you to enrage by using rampage, and it's going to allow you to have it a lot more. So you're going to be able to get off multiple rampages more and spend less time on wasted haste, because there is an actual cap. Anything after 18% haste is pretty much wasted haste. So you want to be running about 18% haste. Critical strike wants to be around 30%, and then everything else needs to be spec'd into mastery. And then let's see here. Fresh Meat. Bloodthirst has a 40% increased critical strike chance against targets above 80% health. That's not bad to use, but it's only good for having an initial burst. So the way your enrage works is that it works off of your critical strikes from your Bloodthirst and also your rampage dumps. So it more than likely is going to give you an initial burst as far as enraging. So if you're going to be doing a good AoE burst, or if you just want to start that off with a good single target burst that you know that the boss or whatever it is that you're killing is going to die from your burst phase, then you can go Fresh Meat. But for longer fights and sustainability, I would always go Endless Rage. Okay, and let's just jump into the second tier. You're looking at Shockwave, Stormbolt, and Double Time. Now, Double Time is usually the way to go for raid encounters. In terms of movement, if you're absolutely just needing that extra charge, and it does actually have a cooldown, or it reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds, which is nice. But in terms of being a DPSer and maximizing that, I want to go something that actually does DPS. So I chose Shockwave. It's a little bit weaker than Stormbolt, but it has the ability to be able to stun multiple targets in front of you. So that's pretty awesome as compared to Stormbolt, which has been nerfed. And it used to be able to do 4 times more damage than it currently does on a target that's unstunnable. So it was awesome for boss fights. It was great for single target, but since the last patch, it's been nerfed. So I would definitely take Shockwave versus Stormbolt whenever it comes to having the ability to stun more targets and do some DPS. So Shockwave is definitely the way to go for me. Let's see here. Third tier, you're looking at Wrecking Ball, Outburst, and Avatar. Wrecking Ball is awesome. It procs almost all the time, and it's an additional 200% increased damage from your Whirlwind. So if you want sustainability in AoE, that's definitely the way to go. It's a good filler as well for cleaving, so definitely go Wrecking Ball when in doubt. And then Outburst, Berserker Rage now causes Enrage. So Enrage back in the day used to, Berserker Rage used to enrage you automatically in the last patch, but it does not anymore until you talent into it. So it's not bad to have if you're just needing that extra enrage, but overall that is going to be only a 1 minute cooldown on Berserker Rage that you get it for 6 seconds. So an additional enrage for 6 seconds. I think there's plenty already built into the Fury Warrior to line up your procs and to line up your actual burst phases that an additional 6 seconds of enrage isn't necessary. So I would rather spend those 6 seconds doing additional damage from Wrecking Ball by using my Whirlwind, or filling it with a different rotation. So Outburst to me is just out of the question. It just doesn't do as much as the others. Avatar, definitely the way to go for single target. You can line that up also as well with an AoE burst. If you're trying to run Avatar with Bladestorm, that's definitely an awesome way to burst. Other than that, like I said, I would purely use it for single target. If your targets are going to die right away in your burst phase, run with Avatar and Bladestormer if you just needed to cleave them down really fast. If you want sustained AoE, like I said, go Wrecking Ball. Let's see here. Tier 4, you're looking at Furious Charge, Bounding Stride, and Warpaint. So Furious Charge, currently I'm getting a 79k to 80k return on the heal from it by using Bloodthirst right after my charge. It's not a bad thing to have, and as you can see right here, I'm at 494k health, so 80k return on that is pretty awesome. So it's not bad to have whenever you're just out questing, you're doing dailies. So it's not a bad thing to have. And then Bounding Stride reduces the cooldown on Heroic Leap by 15 seconds, and your Heroic Leap now also increases your run speed by 70% for 3 seconds. I see that more in terms of raid encounters that are high in movement and or for PvP. Let's see here, Warpaint, definitely the way to go. Any warriors out there that know that you've died in every patch, every time you do a burst AoE pull, Warpaint is going to save you. So an additional 10% that it takes off. So you're only taking 20% increased damage from Enrage. By the way, guys, if you're going to be doing AoE, heavy AoE, and you know it's going to pull from the tank, pop your damn Enrage regeneration because it's going to save you. So that 30% from Enrage regeneration and the Warpaint, which reduces it down to 20%, is going to be pretty nice. So definitely go Warpaint whenever you're doing raids, if you're going to be doing some high-end AoE bursts. Other than that, Furious Charge is really just for out doing dailies and leveling. So let's see here. 5th tier, you're going to be looking at Massacre, Frothing Berserker, and Carnage. Now, Massacre, I can definitely see if you're leveling and you're getting those critical strikes off and you have multiple targets, it's going to allow you to get those rampages off pretty quick and also as well at no cost. So I'm sure that they can be used a lot in leveling, but for dungeons and raiding purposes, I wouldn't use it. Frothing Berserker, so when you reach 100 rage, your damage is increased by 10% and your movement speed by 30%. I've tried this out. It does a little bit more whenever you burst into a rampage, but it requires you to be at 100 rage. So you're basically going to dump all of your rage after you hit rampage, and then that thing's gone. So 6 seconds versus Carnage, where you can have a rampage reduction by 15 rage. I would take Carnage every time. Less rage I have to use, the better, so I can get more rampages off, which means more in rage time, so I can do more damage. So Carnage is going to take the cake. Let's see here. Tier 6, you have Bloodbath, Frenzy, and Inner Rage. Bloodbath is going to be nice to have only whenever you're stacking for AoE purposes, in my opinion. So if you're running Bloodbath with Bladestorm, it's going to do some serious damage. I would only take Bloodbath if I know the targets are going to be they're going to be up for at least 16 seconds. So if they're not up for 16 seconds at least, then you're missing out on DPS. It's just wasted DPS from Bloodbath. The dots are on there while they're still dying, or they're dead already, and it's just wasted DPS. Other than that, I would take Inner Rage. It basically allows your Raging Blow to no longer be off of proc, and you don't have to be enraged to do it. So it's increased by 150%, and it has a 4.5 second cooldown, which isn't bad. So it works out pretty good with my rotation, and I have no issues with it. So definitely go Inner Rage if you're trying to get the Raging Blows off and you not have to worry about watching the procs. And then Frenzy, Furious Slash increases your haste by 5% for 10 seconds, taking it to 3 times. So 15% that you have to basically keep up at all times if you want to optimize DPS. And it's up for 10 seconds if you're stacking it. So I hardly find myself using Furious Slash ever. I maybe use it a couple times here and there in my rotation, depending on how long the boss fight is. Even in dungeons, I don't find that I'm really using it as a filler as part of my rotation. So it's forcing you to basically keep it in your rotation and keep it up by three stacks in order to maximize it. I find Inner Rage does a lot more damage, and I don't have to worry about trying to keep that stack up the whole time and then trying to dump my rage by using Rampage. So Inner Rage is the winner here for me. And then last tier, you're looking at Bladestorm, Reckless Abandon, and Dragon Roar. Bladestorm hands down for AoE. Nothing else really to say. Makes you immune to CC, and you can still use your defensive abilities and avoid attacks. So I mean, AoE purposes, Bladestorm all the way. It's off a 1.5 minute cooldown now, whereas last patch it was a 1 minute cooldown. Not a big deal, but definitely easy to line up with your cooldowns if you're trying to do a big AoE cleave. So Bladestorm for AoE. Reckless Abandon, Battle Cry generates 100 rage. I find myself getting actually overcompensating on rage whenever I use this. and it's just wasted time, wasted rage. So if you're ever just having an excessive amount of rage all the time, then you're wasting a rotation. So I wouldn't use Reckless Abandon for anything. Maybe if you're trying to get an initial burst off, I guess, but in terms of the other two, I wouldn't use them. Dragon Roar. So Dragon Roar also increases your damage now by 20% for 6 seconds. Previous patch, it did not do this. All Dragon Roar did was that it did a pretty strong hit, and it also ignored all the armor, and it always did a critical strike. So now it gives you a 6-second 20% buff. So pretty good for an opener, definitely for single target. I'm sure it could be used with Wrecking Ball in cooldowns, but I think in terms of AoE, cleave, and big AoE burst, Avatar running with Blaze Storm is going to be king, and Dragon War is definitely going to be used for single target. So that's pretty much it, and that's my opinion on that. As far as DPS rotation goes, basically be going into a charge with any target. Always want to be charging. Definitely go right into a Bloodthirst, and then also as well that's going to enrage you usually. But if it doesn't, you still have your Raging Blow, so go ahead and throw off your Raging Blow, and then Furious Slash to go ahead and fill if you don't have anything else up other than Bloodthirst and Raging Blow. Cooldowns you want to use on that as needed, going to be Shockwave and of course Blade Storm, depending on whether you're going to be single target or AoE. Other than that, Whirlwind is a good filler for AoE, Furious Slash for single target filler, and that's pretty much about it. Make sure you utilize your Battle Cry properly, because it's only up for 5 seconds and it's 100% increased crit chance, so make sure you're optimizing that with your cooldowns. Other than that, your rotation is pretty simple, and that's going to be my guide on a Fury Warrior DPS and talents. So alright guys, GG, have a good one, bye.